Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here wearing my brand new John C Nation sweatshirt that I picked up from WWE Shop last night in that good old unboxing. Large WWE Shop unboxing that just came through. One of the nicest sweatshirts I've ever owned. WWE is already tweeting out the fact that there's going to be a rematch taking place at Extreme Rules, being Rusev going up against none other than John Cena. Rusev is going to be wanting that United States Championship back. I think they didn't make it as big of a deal as Rusev losing his first match as I really thought they were going to. Maybe they knew that a lot of people thought that Rusev was sort of a one-trick pony, basically running around with the United States Championship, saying that he hadn't lost a match in a year, and with the guy that beat him being John Cena, taking that undefeated streak away, people would have been thinking maybe John Cena was just sort of looking out for himself. There's been a lot of stories of basically Cena, behind the scenes, pulling some strings to making sure that he gets wins somewhere along the way. Of course, one of the biggest one is the Chris Jericho and Edge story of basically Cena going at SummerSlam 2010, saying that he was going to beat the Nexus, and Jericho and Edge trying to talk him out of the fact, saying it didn't really make any sense and it was going to be bad for the business. And what do you know? Once it was all said and done, Jericho has said that Cena came to him and admitted his mistake, saying that it didn't work out for him. There's a lot of people saying that John Cena and Daniel Bryan winning those mid-card titles, the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship, is sort of WWE turning a new page, making those titles mean something, meaning that your World Heavyweight WWE Championship, whatever you want to call that deal, it is the main belt. But when it is on a guy like Lesnar, it's not going to be missed as much because all the titles are going to mean something. You're going to have, 3 big matches on every pay-per-view, making the pay-per-views mean something. Honestly, in my opinion, the title's not on Lesnar anymore. The title's now on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is going to be on Monday Night Raw. He's going to be on SmackDown. He's going to be on the house shows. He's going to be on the pay-per-views, so I think it's just a little bit too late. I think when you look at the pay-per-views this year, whether they're from October through December, the shows that Lesnar was not on because he just was sitting at home and he got a good deal, and you're not going to take that deal away from him. I mean, you're not going to be able to say that the guy negotiated a good contract where he didn't have to be there all the time, that it's his fault that the show sucks. You're basically going to be pointing in the direction of the guys who wrote the contract and gave it to him. It's the same thing I think about sports players when a lot of guys, people say that people are overpriced. It's not that guy's fault that his skills have diminished. It's the fault of the guys who wanted to sign him, who offered him the deal, and the agent that negotiated it. But honestly, in my opinion, I think this could go either way. I really couldn't see John Cena holding on to the United States title. I don't think he's going to hold this title forever, but it does hold him in a very good spot where he doesn't have to be going after Rollins. He doesn't have to be in that main event scene. You can see Roman Reigns get the big push that he's looking for. I think that Randy Orton's going to be the guy getting the shot at Extreme Rules, so he can have his title shot that he's been looking for over a year now. But I could also see Rusev beating him and getting the title back. We've seen basically where Lana, put him in the match and Rusev got mad, and we've seen where Lana was trying to cheat at WrestleMania. She threw the boa in the ring, and the referee took it as the I quit, and he rang the bell. John Cena won, and maybe we'll get more of an insider story on all of that right now. When you looked at Monday Night Raw as of last week, it looked like maybe Cena and Rusev are going in different directions, but they've already, put up a match card, and they've already put up a picture. WWE Network is advertising this as one of the matches that's going to be taking place, so I'm guessing that they're going to go back to it. But there's not a lot of guys that Cena could fight on the mid-card, but I think that's only because when we think about guys that Cena could go up against, we don't really think about him going up against guys like Ambrose, like he did on Monday Night Raw last week. That was a really good match, and I think that people would like to see a lot more of that. So whether what happens from here, I'm not sure. I want to see what kind of a stipulation that they're going to have. If you go back to last year's Extreme Rules, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't Extreme Rules, because it was the next pay-per-view, because Extreme Rules was a steel cage match. It was that was it Payback that they had the last man standing, Bray fell and fell down and the box fell on top of him and he couldn't get out of it. And then Monday Night Raw came and Cena was there and Wyatt was there, but they just didn't want to fight anymore. I know it didn't really make any sense then, it didn't really make any sense now, but I can see them having an I quit match where basically you have to hear Rusev say I quit instead of throwing it in there. I can see them doing a last man standing match. Both of those make sense, and both of those would be really cool matches for Rusev and Cena. So we'll see what happens at Extreme Rules. But one thing and another, these guys are going to get it on. And we're going to have to see. I was about to say that I think Cena's going to win the title and go on with it, but I'm not 100% sold on that. Maybe we'll have to see what happens on Monday Night Raw. Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you here this morning. About to get ready for a good day of work here. We're going to be going in. We're going to be selling some meat today. It's going to be a good one. Talking about Extreme Rules. Yesterday, I talked about the stipulation added to the Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins WWE Championship match. Today, it's going to be all about John Cena. Look at this. We're in all the Cena gear today. Cena sweatshirt on top of Cena shirt. Got to get changed, I meant. For some reason, I left my work shirt in my car. So I had to wear regular clothes to get here. But fun times coming up ahead for John Cena and Rusev. They're going to be having, hopefully, the blow-off match. They had the match at Fastlane. They had the match at WrestleMania. Now they're going to be having the match at Extreme Rules. It's going to be a Russian chain match. Rusev attacking John Cena after the John Cena U.S. Open Challenge on Monday Night Raw, laying him out. It seems that him and Lana are back on the same page yet once again. And, I don't know. I really think that Cena should keep the United States Championship. I thought that when he won the title, honestly, I didn't really think that he was going to be able to bring prestige to the title. I know that, Daniel Bryan is on SmackDown talking about trying to bring prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship, and he's been having, matches for the title, and he's going to be going up against Wade Barrett. And I think that on the horizon for Daniel Bryan, his next match is going to be going up against Sheamus. Once Sheamus has his match with Dolph Ziggler at Extreme Rules. I don't know where we go with John Cena, but honestly, watching Monday Night Raw week in and week out, the U.S. Challenge, I think, honestly, is getting over. It gets to see John Cena wrestle in real wrestling matches that we don't really get to see all the time. John Cena is sort of like a protected guy. He will be involved in angles and things on the show, but most of the time, John Cena is wrestling in the main event of Monday Night Raw, and the matches will end at a count-out. The matches will end with some tomfoolery where you don't really get a finish. It's to build up the next week's edition of Raw. But, we're getting to see him wrestle sometimes in the first hour, sometimes in the second hour. And, they're real wrestling matches. I mean, they're wrestling matches like I used to watch when I was a kid. And to me, that's stuff that I want to see. I want to see a guy go into a match and have a clean finish in order to find out who the real best competitor there is going inside of the ring. Rusev was a good United States champion, but honestly, in my book, I thought of him as United States champion a lot like the way I thought of Dean Ambrose when he was involved in the Shield, where he just held the title, and it seemed like the title was never really on the line or never really up for grabs. I never really felt like there was competition for the title. Rusev, his biggest plus wasn't the United States Championship. It was that he was undefeated, that, he had lost a match via countout to Jack Swagger. I think they said that he had lost another match to Ryback. It might have been via disqualification, but, he hadn't been pinned and he hadn't been submitted. At WrestleMania, they were able to finally take that off of him, and it seemed like they didn't really make that the big highlight. The big highlight at WrestleMania was, John Cena winning the United States Championship. It was 11 years, I think, after his last reign as United States Champion, after he beat Big Show at WrestleMania 20, and then he held the belt all the way up until WrestleMania 21 when he lost it, I believe, on the go-home SmackDown to Orlando Jordan, trying to put a little bit more heat on him. So that way when he went up against JBL, it felt like his back was up against the wall because the cabinet had already, stolen one of the big ones from him, and the belt that he'd held for, I think he'd held it for almost a year, but there was that short time, and I think he was filming The Marine where he got stabbed in the nightclub. He lost to Carlito, and Carlito is United States champion before, I believe, Cena got it back. But I could be a little bit wrong. That, like I said, it was years and years and years ago. But the Russian chain match, I think, is a great match to have for Rusev and Cena. I know that, Cena, has his time with the chain as well. Most people won't forget, when he was first coming on, he always wore that big chain around his neck with the big, I was going to call it the Master Lock, but I guess that's Chris Masters. But he used to use that thing a lot, and he'd have it in his corner. I think he even had it, for a little bit of his babyface run before he dropped the rapper's gimmick, and just straight up came the Marine. But if you think about Russians in wrestling, you think about the Koloffs, and they would have those killer chain matches back in the day. I know I was listening to Wrestling Observer back in the day, and they were talking about Bruno Sammartino going against Koloff back in the day when Sammartino beat him. I believe they said that match was in the Garden, and that was a big historic match. But you can think about the Road Warriors matches in the NWA and things like that. But I haven't seen a good chain match. The one that comes to my mind is the one that I watch more often than none, is the Roddy Piper versus Greg the Hammer Valentine from the first Starrcade. That's a damn good match, and those guys beat the hell out of each other. It's hard to say that those guys even walked out of the ring that night. They beat the hell out of each other so much. But how they're going to be able to do that style of match, that was a dog collar match more than a chain match. But and I don't know if WWE would be able to get away with that these days. But, they were choking each other with a chain, and they were hitting each other upside the head. And I believe that Roddy Piper says that he can't hear out of his left ear because of Greg the Hammer Valentine punching him with that chain so many times. I think he said he's pretty much 100% deaf on one side of his head because of that chain match. But I don't know if they're going to be using the chain throughout the match. I know that they can hit each other a few times, but it's just sort of, maybe I think that the finish is actually just going to be somebody finally grabbing the chain and just one punch, boom, down goes that guy, 1, 2, 3, and that would be the finish. I think that's the only way you could really do it, because in today's era where I know there is accidental blood, I was going to say that there is no blood in wrestling anymore, but you can't say that after the Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 31 when he went into the post against Roman Reigns and he got split open. And some people said that he bladed, and some people said that it was the hard way. Whatever happened, it made the match a little bit better, because you were like, whoa, Lesnar's an actual human. I know that Triple H came walking out there like Terminator, but I think most of the people think of Brock Lesnar as pretty much of a machine that's just going to go out there and beat everybody. And here he is actually showing, that he has the capability of being beaten down, because once you get bloodied and beaten down, it starts wearing on you, and you're going down. But we'll have to see what goes down. It's hard for those guys to get a few shots in with that chain and not not look superhuman by not it's not the old days when the guys would get hit with the chain and they do a little notch in their forehead and then the blood would start coming down, the crowd get all fired up. They don't do stuff like that anymore. So we'll have to see what's going down at the pay-per-view. I honestly hope that Cena's going to get the win here. I feel like he's going to get the win. I know there's going to be people out there saying that, Cena, killed off another guy like he killed off Bray Wyatt last year. But Rusev can find something coming out of this. You keep him and you keep Lana as a team. I know once you work Cena, it's hard to go work anybody else and have you feel like it's going to mean something. I mean, if they put Rusev up against Dolph Ziggler, is that a match that people really care about? But you gotta have hopes that WWE has long-term plans for this guy. I think if Rusev is sort of like a Triple H guy coming out of NXT, and he's going to be pushing him and making sure that he gets going again. So we'll have to see what happens. But Extreme Rules, right up around the corner. It's sooner than you think. Peace out, everybody. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're sitting here taking on all about Extreme Rules. Yesterday, I made a video about John Cena versus Rusev at Extreme Rules 2015, coming right up around the corner. And I talked about what I thought the chain match was going to be. I didn't really think it was going to be like a chain match on a pole. I thought maybe there would be like a chain in each corner. Rusev would have like his Russian chain that he would have in his corner. Maybe John Cena would wear his old chain around his neck down to the ring with the big old padlock on it. And that would sort of hit in his corner, and you have to beat your guy down until you're able to grab the chain and then knock your opponent out. It can sort of be like the end of Triple H versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 27, where Undertaker had the move on Triple H, and Triple H is trying to reach, and he's trying to grab for the sledgehammer inside of the ring, and maybe, you know, one of the guys would be able to grab it and be able to knock the other guy out and make the big save in the match. But that's not what it's going to be. It turns out on SmackDown, they laid out the rules for what the Russian chain match was going to be, and really it's nothing more than what a strap match is in the WWE with using a chain instead. They're going to be chained together, more than likely probably around the wrist. They're going to have a wrestling match, and it's going to turn into a four corners affair, where basically you have to, you know, be able to beat down your opponent, and then you have to be able to walk around the ring and be able to, you know, slap each corner. And once you touch all four in order, then you were crowned the winner. I don't know. Honestly, in my mind, the last time I can remember a strap match was the match that was just on the WWE Network the other day. I think it was from Extreme Rules might have been Extreme Rules 2011, where it was Chad going up against JTG, the breakup of Crime Time. And, you know, Chad thought he had beaten down JTG, and he was, you know, walking around the ring, sort of posing to the crowd. And at the same time, JTG was sneaking up behind him. And at the last second, he made a desperation jump to grab the turnbuckle before Chad did. And JTG was able to get the win, even though he got his ass kicked the entire match. I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to this match anymore at the pay-per-view. I was really looking forward to some sort of a blow-off match where we would see the end of John Cena versus Rusev. I know that both of these guys are big, strong guys, but more than likely, we're not going to see the big finishing move of, John Cena, wrapping up Rusev in the chain while he's applying the STFU down on the floor. I think it's more than likely he's just going to hit an attitude adjustment, and then he's just going to walk around the ring. Maybe Rusev tries to make the save at the last minute, and then he has to, hit the attitude adjustment again before slapping the last panel. Where Rusev goes from there, I'm not sure, but I got to hope that they're going to be able to figure this out. I thought for a long time, once Rusev lost that undefeated streak, he was going to lose a lot of steam, and here he is, losing one match to John Cena. They should have gone their own separate ways after that, so Rusev wouldn't have to lose another one. I want to see Cena keep the United States Championship because I like the U.S. Open tournament on, not tournament, but the Open Challenge, I guess you can say, on Monday Night Raw. They didn't do it last night on SmackDown because of the tag match with Daniel Bryan, but I think I really like the fact that every week on Raw, even though Lance Storm says that it's basically the same match week in and week out, where Cena goes for the headlock, he gets a lot of heat, he hits the attitude adjustment, the guy kicks out at the finish, the guy hits his finish on John Cena, he kicks out, Cena hits another attitude adjustment, and then he gets the win. Basically, that's what Lance said the match is week in and week out on Raw, even though people get really pumped up about it. I think it's cool to get to see John Cena really wrestle a match. So many times we see him wrestle matches in the main event of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, and the match always ends in DQ or count out or just, tomfoolery where we don't even get a finish. But now, you can see a good John Cena match, sometimes in the opening hour, sometimes in the second hour, and it's a real match. I mean, it's not a match that you'd see on pay-per-view, but it's a match that you'd really want to see with a real finish. We've seen him wrestle, Wade Barrett, Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes, Dean Ambrose. Week in and week out, you can really hope for your favorite heel to really go out there and have a good match. They're not going to win, but they get to look really good, and that's important. So we'll see what happens with this Rusev versus John Cena, a.k.a. strap match with a chain. I'm not really looking forward to this as much as I thought I was, but we'll see. Extreme Rules right up around the corner. Oh, yeah. There we go. John Cena going up against Russian star Rusev in the Russian chain match for the United States Championship. Rusev came into WrestleMania 31 undefeated. He came into WrestleMania 31 as United States Champion. He left without either one of those. John Cena, the champ, is here. Boom! Dun 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 dun! At WWE Extreme Rules, we're going to see the first ever WWE's televised Russian chain match. The Russian chain match goes all the way back in the day to the Koloffs going up against San Martino. The Road Warriors were involved in a whole bunch of chain matches. You can go back and watch Greg the Hammer Valentine versus Roddy Piper at the first ever Starrcade. That was more of a dog collar match than more than anything else. But basically, in this match, both of the superstars are going to be sort of chained together at the wrist, where they're going to have to sort of drag their opponents around the ring, beat them down, and be able to touch all four ring turnbuckles in succession to be able to be named the winner. I know that's kind of a weak stipulation. Honestly, in my mind, you just sort of beat the guy with the chain to the point of where you're able to pin him, or maybe even get a submission out of him. We saw Rusev beat down John Cena in the back and then sort of strap in the accolade by wrapping the chain around John Cena's face, making his nose go up like Miss Piggy pretty much. But these two guys are going to beat the hell out of each other. Everybody knows that there is no love lost between John Cena and Rusev. When this first feud first got started, basically John Cena came into this and took the route of he was the grizzled old vet and that he'd seen guys come and go like Rusev and no one was going to be able to beat him. And then at Fastlane, Rusev shocked the world. It was by tomfoolery, I guess you can say, of Lana getting into the ring. Basically, the referee was all tied up. Rusev was able to kick John Cena right in the nards and then super kick him right upside the head. But when all the chips were all down at the end of the night, John Cena lost the match and Rusev won. Then WrestleMania 31 came, and I know there was a lot of miscommunication between Lana, who was trying to break John Cena's hold, trying to get the ref's attention by throwing her shoes into the ring, and then finally throwing her feather boa into the ring, which the referee took as like the white handkerchief, saying that Rusev could not go on anymore, and her manager was, basically stepping in to stop the match. Rusev took, big, I guess you can say he didn't agree with that at all. He did not tap out. He did not want to show any weakness to John Cena. So him and Lana started having words. But it looks like Lana and Rusev are back finally on the same page. It was Lana coming out to direct a promo to John Cena, basically saying that this was going to be a Russian chain match, setting up Rusev to attack John Cena from behind, coming in and hitting him and knocking him out with the chain for him to stand strong as the Russian flag draped behind him. When it comes to chains, basically John Cena is no strangers to the chain gang. John Cena was once the leader of the chain gang back in the day when he was the United States champion. This is what it's like, all coming around full circle for you. I don't know what the pop would be like if John Cena came out to basic Thuganomics. I know that he came out to it, I can't remember if it was WrestleMania 24, maybe WrestleMania 25. John Cena's already, basically, he's wearing the Champ is Here shirt now with the United States Championship, pointing at the belt. But when Cena came out wearing the throwback t-shirt, that sort of teal thing, I know they just re-released it in white, so maybe he'll go back to wearing that one sooner than later. But I really thought that we were going to maybe hear that song once or twice, Monday Night Raw or a pay-per-view, to sort of have that sort of thing that gets trapped into your mind. John Cena, when he was coming up, was one of the hottest things in wrestling. Vince was able to see it, and that's why he's the top dog in the world right now. John Cena going on to Monday Night Raw, wrestling in the United States Championship Open Challenge matches. We've seen him fight Dean Ambrose. We've seen him fight Stardust. We've seen him fight Kane. All of these matches were fun. All of these matches were good. And I want to keep seeing more of this. John Cena is the United States champion. Does it mean to me that belt means more? It sort of does. But I do know that when somebody finally sneaks up and does beat John Cena, whether if it's Rusev, whether if it's Sting, whether if it's Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, like the WWE.com article put up, the belt's not going to mean what it was before. Even if one of those NXT guys comes up and takes that belt, More than likely, Vince is going to forget all about that championship because the guy holding it is not John Cena, the guy who sells the most t-shirts or the guy that goes on to the most television shows and gets booked to do the most appearances around the world. It's just sort of, well, we'll just have this guy lose this match on Raw. Well, we'll just let this guy lose this match on SmackDown. He's still the champion, so he's not really losing anything. He's just losing a match. He's just helping put some guy over, and we all know that's not really the way this works. I'm hoping that this match is going to be the blow-off for the feud. I'm hoping that John Cena is able to pull out the victory. Rusev is able to go his own way, and then maybe we can see a new number one contender for a pay-per-view for payback for John Cena. At the end of the world, if Rusev gets his title back, he's going to look hot going into his next direction, wherever John Cena goes, but we've already heard rumors that the Payback main event is going to be a three-way. Randy Orton going up against Seth Rollins, going up against Roman Reigns. So there's a lot of main event guys getting tied up. I know that Kane's out there. I know Big Show's out there. But do you really want to see Kane or Big Show fight against John Cena? No, not me. So they'll have to figure something out. But I'm picking John Cena to get the win in this match. And I hope you guys are too. This is it. The party is going to be tomorrow night. It's going to be excellent tonight. WWE Extreme Rules 2015. The party's going to be off the chains. The John Cena victory party. He's going to win it. He's going to win it again. He has to keep that United States Championship. We got the old title here, but at least we got that. The champ is here. John Cena going in it against Rusev. Tomorrow, Extreme Rules 2015. It's going to be off the chains. This is, oh, I didn't even mean to say it like that. But tomorrow, the Russian chain match. Good old Rusev is going to be bringing in the iron, stone cold Russian chain into the ring. He's going to be bringing it in there. In my opinion, they must put Rusev out of his misery. This feud must come to an end, and John Cena must come out on top, because John Cena always comes out on top. The United States Championship, honestly, in my mind, has got a little bit of a boost. Since WrestleMania 31, when John Cena walked out of there with the championship, I thought that, honestly, that the idea of Daniel Bryan with the Intercontinental Championship, John Cena with the United States Championship was a huge joke. I gave no truth to that story whatsoever of basically saying that they were going to put the championship on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31, and he was going to be the main champion. But then, on all of the house shows, you were going to have these United States Championships, you were going to have these Intercontinental Championship matches, and they were going to be real wrestling matches that really brought you to the point of thinking that it was well worth the price of admission. Look, they've taken it a mile farther. John Cena has been defending the United States Championship in open challenges on Raw and on SmackDown. The Daniel Bryan thing, he got injured once again, a lot like he did last year. I want to say it's not his fault that he got hurt, but it's Daniel Bryan. This is the second year in a row this has happened around the same time period. He hasn't even been wrestling a full-time load. You know, he just came back right before Royal Rumble back in January. Here we are at the end of April, and Bryan's already on the shelf. And honestly, a lot like last year, they don't even know what's wrong with him. But honestly, when I think about Rusev, I feel sorry for the guy a little bit. You know, if he loses this United States Championship match, where does this guy go from here? He's a heel. They don't have a lot of heels going there, but with the champion like Seth Rollins with the championship, and already, you know, rumors out there of Payback 2015 being a three-way, Seth Rollins against Randy Orton against Roman Reigns. What babyface is going to be out there? Do you really want to see Cena versus Rusev 4? I can tell you, for one, I don't want to see it. The 3-month feud that WWE always has, all these guys always do, is a little bit old, a little bit tiresome for me. We've seen Rusev do everybody except for that big Ryback match that was going down there. But Ryback, it looks like he's going to be going as Mr. Muscles, going up against Bray Wyatt. But honestly, in my opinion, we saw Cena jumped on Monday Night Raw in the back by Rusev, and then, you know, the best cutscene that they could do was him wrapping the chain around John Cena's face, making him show that there's really nowhere for this man to go, as he locked him into the Accolade. Who knows what happened to Cena that night, if he was able to power up out of the move, he was passed out, if they had to take him to the local hospital for care. They just sort of left this high and dry with Rusev just maybe he's still in the hold. Maybe they're still wherever Monday Night Raw was, and he's still into the hold. And then again, I don't know. I didn't watch SmackDown, but maybe Thursday they showed him on TV and they couldn't do that. But I'm looking forward to this match. It's one of the few matches that I'm looking forward to at Extreme Rules. I want to know what's up with Daniel Bryan. We haven't got an update on that. I want to see that Orton versus Rollins match. I want to see John Cena versus Rusev, and and that's honestly just about it. There's matches on this show, but they're just matches in my mind. Big Show versus Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus, Ambrose versus Harper. Why is this a match? Tyson Kidd versus The New Day, it's just it. Extreme Rules tomorrow night. Cena victory party right after the pay-per-view. Come right over here. Stevie Breeze channel will be drinking all night long. This is the Pringles can, but if it was a beer, pop a top, baby.